The weather is darkening. Clouds are coming. The moon is here. We don't have much left. Six o'clock Thursday morning, 6th of March. Predicted to be massive cyclone coming in 9 PM tonight. So far, doesn't look like anything. So we're here with the weather. Apparently Cyclone Alfred's taking a chill pill, slowly coming our way. We had expected it to be here tonight at 9 o'clock, it's 6 o'clock now, and it's believed to be travelling incredibly slow. So while we're waiting, we're chilling out with our neighbours playing the guitar and my dog eating his bones. So far so good. I'll show you what the weather looks like.
Hello from the Bureau with an update on Tropical Cyclone Alfred as it approaches the southeast Queensland coast with widespread impacts expected to extend all the way into northeast New South Wales. So here's Alfred at the moment, currently a Category 2 system around 245 kilometres to the east of Brisbane, with estimated wind gusts near the centre of up to 130 kilometres per hour. Now looking at the current radar imagery, we can see bands of showers and thunderstorms pushing up into northeast New South Wales and southeast Queensland and spiralling in towards the centre of the cyclone. We've already seen some heavy rainfall totals between 1 to 200 plus millimetres about elevated parts of New South Wales and about the scenic rim and hinterland of southeast Queensland, with the rainfall expected to intensify as that cyclone approaches and crosses the coast. A tropical cyclone warning is currently extending from Double Island Point all the way down to just shy of Grafton, including the heavily populated parts of the Sunshine Coast, Brisbane, Gold Coast and the Northern Rivers District of New South Wales. Now within this area we're expecting damaging to destructive winds, heavy to intense rainfall that may lead to life-threatening flash flooding and also dangerous storm tides. And as we move into the remainder of today and tomorrow, Alfred is expected to continue moving westwards and approach the offshore islands as a Category 2 system. Then it's expected to interact with the coastline and weaken to a Category 1 system, crossing the mainland coast as a Category 1 during the early hours of Saturday morning. Now the greatest impacts are expected to be both near and south on the southern flank of the tropical cyclone. Now, we're then expecting the tropical cyclone to quickly weaken to a tropical low where the winds are expected to ease. However, the rain and the flooding impacts are expected to continue for days ahead and into the weekend. Now, let's take a look at the winds. We're already seeing gale force winds or damaging winds starting to develop about the exposed coast, but we're expecting them to extend further inland as tropical cyclone moves west. Then destructive winds are expected to develop during tomorrow, with the strongest winds expected to be near and just south of the tropical cyclone during the coastal crossing. We do have a severe weather warning for these damaging to destructive winds across southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales that extends slightly further inland compared to the tropical cyclone warning to include parts of the elevated ranges area. Now within these areas we could see wind gusts up to 155 kilometres per hour developing and then easing once the tropical cyclone starts to move away and weaken below tropical cyclone strength. So here we have it, weakening to a tropical low, and just noticing that the winds do ease, but it does still remain quite gusty about the coast, particularly about the New South Wales coast as we head towards the end of the weekend. Now, the other impact is the heavy rain. So we're expecting the rain to become more heavy during tonight and peaking on Friday and during Saturday as well, with the heaviest rainfall totals expected on the southern flank of that low, particularly about the far southeast corner of Queensland, but also about the elevated parts of New South Wales. We do have a severe weather warning for the heavy to intense rainfall that may lead to flash flooding. And in this, we may see 6-hourly rainfall totals between 200 to 250 millimetres and 24-hour rainfall totals between 350 and 450 millimetres. And so the rainfall is expected to start to be dragged inland over the weekend as that low pressure moves in, and there is the potential for the rainfall to also start to extend further down into the New South Wales coast as we move into early next week. Now, because of all of this heavy rainfall, we do have a broad area of flood watches current across southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales, with a number of initial major flood warnings about that northeastern quadrant of northern New South Wales and pushing down towards the mid-north coast as well. Now, this is an evolving weather situation, so these flood watches and warnings are expected to be updated as it evolves. So it's important, if you live within these areas, to stay up to date with the latest warnings. So the other impact that we have is the large waves and the powerful swell. Now, we've already been seeing significant waves between 4 to 6 metres about the region, but we're expecting them to peak later tonight into tomorrow between 7 to 8 metres before gradually starting to ease throughout the weekend as the tropical cyclone weakens to a tropical low. Now, as well, the heavy rainfall and flooding is coinciding with these dangerous storm tides that will be generated by the tropical cyclone. And we're forecasting the storm tides to be 1 metre above the highest astronomical tide. Now, this is going to make it really difficult for water to get away once it's been rained out, and increases the risk of both flash and riverine flooding. So we do have a coastal hazard warning that extends all the way from Gympie down towards Seal Rocks of New South Wales. Now, this is for damaging surf and abnormally high tides, and it's a combination of these two things that has already caused inundation of low-lying areas and also significant coastal erosion. And we're expecting this to continue for the duration of this weather event. So if you or anyone you know lives about southeastern parts of Queensland or northeastern parts of New South Wales, now is the time to stay up to date with our latest warnings via our website, our app or social media. And as always, listen to the advice from your local emergency services. Bye for now.
It is starting to pick up with the rain here at Sunshine Coast on Thursday night.
Weather Bureau, what did they tell you?
That the system continues to head towards the coast, and we've got a bit of a reprieve during the day. It did circle on itself overnight, which bought us a little bit more time, but it is approaching, and Queenslanders are experienced, whether it's wind or rain, or we've seen those swells emerge, and indeed that will lead to flooding. Everyone will have some level of impact. But
I'm just walking past the fruit shop and Aldi's, and they're closed, and it's not even 6 o'clock yet. Already I can see the clouds are a bit touch and go. Over here looks quite dark, but nothing as such yet when it comes to the cyclone. So I think everyone's bunkering down before we get, even the cars, there's like 1 or 2 cars this entire time I've walked. So I'm taking my dog out quickly, walk before any of this happens.
White-collar factory workers. Regardless of the colour of their collar, their labour is repetitive. They sit at their workstation and they repeat their tasks for hours on end until the day is over. This is just how it is for most people who
but it's one that is important to make sure we keep everyone safe. And so right now, people should be thinking about making sure they've got shelter as we gear up overnight. the wind will rise, the wind will come in strong, the rain will come back again, and then throughout Saturday we will experience strong wind and heavy rain. Saturday is the danger zone in particular when it comes to flash flooding, and what we're seeing from the BOM is that totas of several hundred mils are very much likely across southeast Queensland, but they can also potentially exceed the levels we saw in the 2022 flood. And so if that is not a reason to take this seriously, I don't know what is, because we know what happened in 2022. It was devastating. And